So this one says, how do I invest with a fluctuating income? It says, I'm self-employed and my income can be pretty inconsistent. Some months I make enough just to cover my bills and other months I have extra cash left over. I've been thinking it's time to start investing for retirement, but I'm not sure how to approach it with such an irregular income. Should I wait until my finances are more stable, or is there a way to invest without overcommitting?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I love this question, Lauren. As you know, I'm self-employed, and this is exactly how I felt when I first started my career. And someone who's as someone who's been self-employed like their entire working career, I can honestly say that like your finances won't just stabilize on their own. Like you have to take the appropriate actions to create stability in your finances. And so I do think this person should probably wait a little bit before they start investing to create that stability. But from there, I think they should get started right away. But when it comes to creating some stability for your finances, if you are self-employed, like I really think you need to get clear on how your income fluctuates. Because you know, this person says that they have some irregular months with income. I think you need to get a really clear understanding. What do those highs look like? What do those lows look like? What is like your kind of monthly average for the last 6 to 12 months? Then you can really start to plan ahead once you get into those higher months. You know, like let's say that you know it's going to take you about $4,000 to cover your expenses. Some months you make maybe as high as $6,000. Other months you make as low as like $3,000, right? Once you are able to cover your expenses, anytime you make more than that, you really got to take advantage of that particular month, setting aside some of that money so that when those low months come, which if you're self-employed, you know, there's always a slower season. There's always going to be low months. You really want to have some funds to pull from. And I think if you can start getting comfortable with doing that, start getting familiar with that process where you have some extra funds to the side, that's how you start to create the stability to where low months, high months, they don't affect what you're doing this month because you've set aside that money. And those high months are really just, you know, those are great months. Those are icing on the cake. That's when you can start putting that extra money towards your financial goals, towards investing, towards saving, whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. Now, Nick, you have a good perspective on this because I'm not self-employed, so I don't have to do this. But so when this person or whenever you start to have your cash reserves and then you get a little more consistent with that, so you have your cash reserves, but your income is still like, you know, potentially going up and down some months. On the months that it's up, do you typically invest more? Should this person invest more that month because they have access to it and now they have their cash reserves for the lower months? Or how would you approach that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, I mean, once they have some money set aside to deal with the low months, the high months, whatever it is, at that point, I would say if they're very confident in what I usually call your baseline budget number, you know exactly how much you need to get through a single month. Once you've made more than that in a month, that's when you can start taking that money and doing something with it, right? And again, it could be working towards some savings goal. It could be another business financial goal. It could be investing. But once I have made more than my baseline budget number, I know I'm covered for the month. That's when I can start taking that extra money. And for me, a lot of it goes into either my business savings, personal savings, or investments. Usually, or at this point in my career where I'm at, my baseline budget number is also going to cover, you know, some discretionary spending for me. It's going to cover to make sure, you know, my wife and I can go out and have a good night or whatever it is, right? So when I make more than that threshold, all that money is just extra and I can put that into investments or savings or whatever it is.
I love that. And I love that this person's asking the question, you know, should they wait till they're more stable? But, you know, I think you're right. I don't think it's ever going to be like 100% stable. I think a lot of people are like, okay, like, I think I'm going to wait till this point to do this. And it's like, is that point ever going to get there? I think you just need to start now and then just slowly work your way up to, you know, being able to invest as much as you want, but you just got to start somewhere. So yeah, I love your response to that. And I think that you have a really good perspective because you're somebody that has the irregular income like this.
Yeah. And, you know, when this person says, should I wait until my finances are more stable? Like you do want to create stability, but you also don't want to like put this off entirely. You know, I think starting with $100, like I keep saying that because it's honestly so true. Like, especially as someone who's self-employed, like you really gotta be on top of your retirement investing because no one else is going to do it for you. You don't have access to like traditional like 401ks, things like that. You are the one responsible for your retirement, like solely responsible for it. And I think the sooner you can get into the habit of just investing regularly each month, the sooner you can work that number into your baseline budget number or whatever it is, the the easier it's going to be down the road. Because I think a lot of people get into this situation as a freelancer or whatever they are, where they've made more than enough to cover their bills, but they don't really have a plan for what they're doing with the rest of the money. And then, by the end of the month, they don't really have anything to show for it. And I think that's such an unfortunate situation, because especially if you're self-employed, like there's no income gap or there's no income cap, I should say, on what you can earn. And if you don't have a plan, like you could go years of just wasting thousands of dollars because you don't have a plan. You spend in everything you bring in. You spend everything you bring in, and it's not a good cycle to be in. So the sooner you can get those good habits, those consistent habits in place, the better off you're going to be in the long run.